Do you remember that scene in Peter Pan where the Lost Boys are following John singing, "Following the leader, the leader, the leader"? Well, that was fun and that was fine for Lost Boys in a whimsical land, but it's not very wise advice for us as Jesus girls, is it? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is Paul lays out certain guidelines for us to follow when we are looking for someone to, well, follow wherever they may go. Join me for this episode of Take Delight. He has laid out this, I guess you could kind of say, this framework for Christianity. He ends it with verse 9 where he says, "Do what you have learned and received and heard from me and seen in me." Why? Because the God of peace will be with you. And so once again, we have a cause and effect, and I love that. So he's telling us to do these things, do the things that we just mentioned, that rejoicing, be gentle, to pray and to think on things that are good. He's telling us to do these things, to practice them, some versions say, because he knows that when we choose to do those things, that we will have that peace that passes all understanding. But he's not just telling us just to do it, he's telling us to follow him, to do it like he does it, like we've seen him do. And it's interesting because he tells the Corinthians the same thing. He says, "Follow me as I follow Christ." Talk about this do, or this practice. And that's because we are human beings and we're going to follow someone. We are just wired that way. We'll follow people that we shouldn't be following because we are drawn to things that are beautiful and shiny. But all the time, beautiful and shiny are not things that are always good for us. And so I love how he's saying very specifically, do this, practice this. It means like put your mind to it, put your mind to the task, and do as a perfect segue into our application about finding a godly mentor. And in verse 7 of 1 Samuel 16, we see, "But the Lord said to Samuel, 'Do not look at his appearance or his stature, because I have rejected him.' Humans do not see what the Lord sees, for humans see what is visible, but the Lord sees the heart." I preface our application with this verse because it's imperative for us to remember that what our eyes see can deceive us about who people are and what they are really like. And I think, what we see on social media and what we see in movies and music, etc., shows us that we have such a propensity to follow people who are all this. But yet God so wants us to look for godly people. And that's what Philippians 4:9 is all about. I love the acronym THINK, a great thing that is a great guideline, not only for our words and our thoughts, but also for someone who we choose to follow wherever they may go. And so the first word is true. Is this person a person of truth? Do they love truth? Do they walk and speak truth? Secondly, are they helpful? Do they look for ways? Do they serve in ways that is to their gifting? Next, are they inspiring? Does their life inspire you to be more like Christ, to be a better version of yourself? Next is noble. Is she a woman who is noble, of noble character? Is she bold and courageous for Christ and for things that are right and true and beautiful? And lastly, is she kind? Is she kind to her man? Is she kind to her kids? Is she kind to those who are not kind to her? So we have, is this person true? Is she helpful? Is she inspiring? Is she noble? And lastly, is she kind? These are beautiful attributes to look for when you're looking for a godly mentor. Okay, so bringing it home, how do you narrow down and choose the one? Well, that's what I have another acronym for you because I just love them with the word who. Who should you ask to be your godly mentor? Who should you ask to be your Paul that you can follow? And so W is this the woman, is she wholeheartedly devoted to God? Is she sold out? Is she just living with her eyes so fixed on Jesus, the author and finisher of her faith? Secondly, H, is she humble? Does she put others above herself? Not that she's like, oh, I am this wretched person, which we are outside of Christ. But I mean, does she look for her own glory, or does she deflect that glory? Is she confident in who she is and she doesn't need all the praise upon her? Humble. Third O is she open about her faith? Is she bold in sharing her faith? You know, and whether she is an introvert or an extrovert, that doesn't matter. What matters is when she has that opportunity to open her mouth and share the hope that's within her, does she do that? WHO, wholeheartedly devoted to God, humble, puts others above herself, and she's open to share her faith. We need these type of women in our lives so that we can see how they live and we can mimic that. As they mimic Christ, we can mimic them, so the God of peace will be with us. Let's pray. Father God, we love you and praise you. Thank you for this charge from Paul. Thank you for how your living word just brings out such beauty and just challenges us where we are, Lord, because we so desire to have a godly mentor. You, Lord, I just pray that you will just open the door for us to find someone who's ahead of us. Us, Lord, just prick our heart, Lord, because this is not a solo race, Lord, but we are supposed to be a band of sisters, and so I just pray that we would just do that. In the strong name of Jesus, amen. Just thank you for listening and participating. I love hearing the comments because it just inspires me and encourages me. So until next time, may you take delight in God's living word so you can live bold and free.